It's true, isn't it, that the night before August 18th, 2010, you were out drinking, correct?
I was out with my friends. It was one of my friend's birthday.
And you were drinking.
I did drink a little.
And in fact, that Wednesday morning, you didn't even go to bed until around 6 a.m., is that true?
That's correct.
And during the state, when you described the events of August 18th on direct examination, you would describe yourself as nauseated and blurry-eyed, is that true?
I was a little hungover, but I knew what I was seeing.
But you were blurry-eyed.
Slightly, yes.
Let's talk about when you entered the home. You saw Jessie Duran there, correct?
Yes.
And you only recognized Jessie Duran because you had seen her in the yard playing with toy guns on numerous occasions.
I saw Jessie playing with Sydney in the yard.
And that's why you recognized her.
Yes.
Now, when you saw Jessie Duran, she was on the phone, correct?
Yes.
And all you heard her say was, on the same page.
That's correct.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance?
Response?
Your Honor, later testimony will go to prove that this phone call was with Hayden Duran, and this is going to prove that our burden that Hayden Duran was negligent and that Jessie Duran acted with recklessness in not calling the police afterwards, but instead calling her mother.
Do you respond on those grounds?
Yes, Your Honor. The witness testified that Jessie was in a state of, seemed in a state of confusion. Therefore, she didn't really know what she was doing.
How does that go to your relevancy objection, Counselor?
Your Honor, it doesn't prove negligence in any way.
Do you respond on those grounds?
Your Honor, this information is extremely relevant for the reasons I stated prior.
One last response?
I'm wondering what element she's tending to prove here?
Recklessness, Your Honor.
If later testimony doesn't go to show what happened during this phone call, then we can strike this particular portion of the testimony.
Yes, sir.
If it does, then we'll make sure that it comes fully in. So your objection is overruled for now.
Yes, Your Honor.
If at some point you feel that the opposing counsel didn't do what they said they would do, feel free to re-object. Please continue.
Yes, Your Honor. Now, after Jessie Duran hung up, she was just staring at you blankly as you testified, correct?
That's correct. She was emotionless and she seemed confused.
You would describe her expression as cold and emotionless, correct?
She had a blank expression when she was emotionless.
Yes, and you would use the term cold and emotionless, correct?
That's correct in a sense.
Now, shortly after Jessie hung up the phone, she looked you in the eyes and said, I did this, correct?
She did, but she also mentioned that she didn't know the gun was loaded and it was just supposed to be a game.
Ms. Chapin, is it your testimony in court today that Jessie Duran said, I did not know the gun was loaded when speaking to you?
It might not have been in those exact words, but very similar.
Did Jessie Duran ever say to you that she did not know the gun was loaded? In any way, in any words?
I do believe so, yes.
Your Honor, I'm referring to what has been previously marked the affidavit of Terry Chapin. May I show opposing counsel?
You may.
No objections.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Can you please show us where in this affidavit you say anything along the lines of Jessie Duran did not know the gun was loaded?
Sure, that's what-
Ms. Chapin, is this because Jessie Duran never said that to you?
I'm not exactly sure.
Objection, Your Honor. Improper impeachment.
Can you cite me a rule number for that, Counselor?
I believe so. No, but she didn't answer all the questions she was supposed to ask.
Let's hear if this is the witness's statement, if they recognize it. and all of that. And
Yes, Your Honor, I was waiting for the statement to come up. It has not yet, and I don't believe it ever will because Jessie Duran did never say that.
She didn't exactly say that it wasn't loaded, but she didn't think it would actually happen.
So
So she didn't actually say
First,
it.
is this your affidavit,
This
Ms.
is my
Chapin? And is that your signature at the end?
Yes, it
And Jessie Duran never said to you, I did not think the gun was loaded.
is. She didn't say that.
Thank you, Ms. Chapin. Now, back to my original line of questioning. Jessie Duran stared at you and said, I did this, correct?
That is correct.
And at this time, she was standing right next to the body of Sydney Park. Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Objection, Your Honor. She never connected the dots at the end of my previous objection.
That it's an improper impeachment?
No, relevance.
I think opposing counsel is saying that using other witnesses, they would be able to show that that particular phone call happened. Counselor, would you care to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. That is what we intend to do.
Response?
Your Honor, how did that phone call prove any negligent point that Hayden Duran was supposed to act upon?
Your Honor, as Ms. Chapin only heard the tail end of that phone call, she cannot testify to that, but we intend to ask later questions that would prove this point of negligence and recklessness on the part of Jessie Duran.
Who made the phone call?
Jessie Duran.
Will Jessie Duran be testifying here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Will you be asking those questions of Ms. Duran?
Yes, Your Honor.
When they get to Ms. Duran, if they fail to lay that sufficient foundation for that this phone call happened, and that's what happened during that phone call, then feel free to re-object. We'll strike it from the record. As of right now, it is admitted. If that foundation is not laid, we'll strike it.
Yes, Your
Yes, Your
Honor.
Honor.